All right, good morning, traders. Today is March 12th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you so much for subscribing, following, liking, and leaving kind words on my content. Appreciate that. Love that. Thank you. Special shout out Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, Ed Carter, and Rick Sadler. Thank you so much for sharing the content, helping get the good word out there to the World Wide Web. Appreciate that and love it. All right, let's take a look at the markets for yesterday. All right, so for today, my SPY pivot remains at 675.75. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. QQQ, lower low, lower high, closed over a bullish cross, but under the 17. SPY, Diamond Dow, and IWM, lower highs, lower lows, closing under bearish traps and under their 17 EMAs. FNGU made an outside day, closing over a bullish trap and over the hooking 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour downtrend, 10-minute uptrend. That's a weak 10-minute uptrend, only about 3 candles right there. So a little rally into the end of the day. Gold, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap and over the 17. Silver, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17. USO, higher high, higher low, closing over a bullish trap and over the 17. UNG made a higher high, higher low, closing over a bullish trap and over the flat 17. US dollar index still in a daily uptrend, closed near the 99.46 area. SPY max pain for today, 675, same as it was yesterday. Put to call ratio about 1.4 puts for each call that expires today. Remember, those index options expire at 4:15. Security options expire at 4. Main event this week. We had CPI was yesterday. Actually, it looked not bad. It was kind of right in line. I know the Fed wants 2.0, but I think it was right around 2.4 or something like that. But really, not a bad CPI. The other main event is GDP report on Friday at 8:30. It was a delayed report. Now it's just going to be regular report. All right, so if this is your first time seeing this, these are all in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These are all in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they got a little star next to it, they're building out a bull flag or a launch pad to launch higher. And if they've got a little star next to it on this side, they're building out a platform or a bear flag from which to dive lower. Let's take a look at the markets. Let's take a look at SPY. Let's take a look at 10-minute chart. And you can see on these last 3 candles, we got the sticks and the 3 up over the 8. Okay, a little bit of a rally, but not much. I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen the bulls for a long time. Now, I don't know if they've left the building or what's going on, but haven't seen the bulls for a while. All right, so yeah, they did rally it all the way back up to the downtrend line, but that's about it. And then they stopped, and they gave it up. Don't know when they're going to take over again, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But right now, I am turning bearish. All right. So, anyways, 3 10-minute candles here. 3-bar uptrend, very weak uptrend. Okay, if you ask me, didn't even pop a higher high. And right after that, they went over and rolled over in the post market, and they actually hit the target that I was looking for all day yesterday, which was, see this peak between 2 valleys? Well, they went down there and tagged that. They actually went down there and tagged the breakup candle low, a little bit even lower below that. So looking at more weakness again this morning. I can see in the pre-market, you can see we're still underneath the brown line here. That's that VWAP line. So showing downward pressure still. Okay, so there's SPY on the 10-minute, on the 2-hour chart. You got the sticks in the 3 plotting underneath. All right, this the ADMA. So 2-hour downtrend. We're underneath the 17 EMA as well. So 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. On the daily candle, we got a lower high and a lower low. We closed under a bearish trap. We closed under the falling 17. We closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP. We'll put the quad lines on here. We'll take the quad lines off there. Let's try this one right here. Okay, like I said yesterday, if we got below 675.46, okay, that would be my bearish clue right there to be a bear. We kind of held the line all day yesterday, and then in the post market we broke down. Now I can see we're breaking down a little bit more. All right, here coming into the open, we'll see what happens. But looking at weakness so far. So SPY on the daily candle, still haven't made a higher high. So you can see these lows. We made a lower low, so we're still in a downtrend. We're in the middle of quadrant 4, so we're still bullish. All right, from the bigger perspective. All right, but you can see we've got some lows on the daily candle. So currently in a daily downtrend. All right, but we are still in the middle of quadrant 4, so that's bullish. If we look at it with the weekly chart on here, okay, you can see here's the origin of our move, April. We're up and over to the right. We still haven't made any lower lows on the weekly chart, so we're still bullish and in an uptrend. On the monthly chart, again, we still haven't made any lower lows, so again, we're bullish and in an uptrend. We remain bullish and in an uptrend on SPY. On weekly and monthly. On daily, not so much. We've started a daily downtrend, okay, in that we've made, we got a high up here, we got a lower high, and we got a lower low. All right, but we're still up here in the bullish area. Remember, the weekly and monthly charts are still bullish. All right, so there's SPY on the daily chart. Let's take a look at QQQ. And we'll look at QQQ on a 10-minute chart. And QQQ, much like SPY, three candle uptrend coming into the close. Okay, not much, no higher highs here. Okay, so not very impressive on that 3 candle uptrend. 2-hour chart. You've got we got the candles plotting below the 8, but the 3 EMA is plotting above it. So we still got ourselves a 2-hour uptrend on the QQQ. A little bit more relative strength in the QQQ than we have in the SPY. Let's take a look at the daily candle. We've got a lower high and a lower low. We closed over a bullish cross, but under the 17 EMA. And we're still on quadrant 4. So we're bullish. And if I'm not mistaken, we made a higher high right here on this day, not yesterday, but the day before. So that puts us in an uptrend. So we're in an uptrend up there, but we're not moving up. All right, so yesterday, notice we didn't move up. This morning, not quite moving up. So currently, we're bullish. Back out here. Here's the April low. We're up over to the right. We're bullish because we're in the upper third up here. Okay, above the crosshairs in the upper third. So we're up in the middle of quadrant 4, so that's bullish. And currently in an uptrend. All right, just barely squeaked that one out. It's a really weak uptrend in that it doesn't encompass too many candles. I think you only got like a 2 valley low and a 2 peak high, so it's not a lot of candles. So it's not really that trustworthy, that daily uptrend that we're currently in. Okay, let's take a look at weekly chart. And on the weekly chart, you see our April low. We're up over here. We have not made any lower lows. This would be the low to beat right there. Okay, so we're still in a weekly uptrend, and we're up. See, we're bullish, so we're still in the middle of quadrant 4. So we're still bullish and in an uptrend on the weekly chart. And the monthly chart, you can see still bullish and in an uptrend way up here, QQQ. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow on the daily chart. All All right, Diamond Dow got a lower low and a lower high, and we closed under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're down here at the bottom of quadrant 4. We're still bullish, all right, but let's face it, we're in a downtrend. The question will be, can they hold the upper third, which is probably going to be right about the bottom of that valley right here. So it's imperative that they hold the upper third for Diamond Dow, just to kind of remain in that bullish scenario that they fought so well for over these last about 10 months. All right, so there's Diamond Dow on the daily chart. Let's take a look at IWM on the daily chart. Again, another lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under a falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, bottom of quadrant 4, so that's still bullish up there, but clearly we've got a low, a high, a lower high right here, and you can see we've got a low right here, and we're making lower low, so also in a downtrend on IWM. All right, weekly chart for IWM, still bullish. We haven't made a lower low, still bullish and in an uptrend. And the monthly chart, same thing, still bullish and in an uptrend on IWM. Let's take a look at daily chart for Stinker. Stinker put in an outside day, I'm pretty sure. Let me just move this stuff out of the way. Okay, yeah, Stinker puts in an outside day. It's a higher high and a lower low. And we close over a bullish trap, over the hooking 17 EMA or rising 17 EMA. We're still under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the all-time low anchored VWAP, under the midpoint, and we still have not made a higher high. So we're still neutral on Stinker, and it's still in a downtrend. And it's a dysfunctional downtrend because, hey, let's face it, ever since making the lower low, see the low here, lower low here, they have not moved lower. They have moved to the right or melted up at this time. So there's Stinker on the daily chart. Again, in a downtrend, it's a dysfunctional downtrend in that price is moving up as opposed to down, or prices moving to the right as opposed to down. So you can see low, all-time high. We're not in the upper third. We're not in the lower third. So neutral. So neutral and in that dysfunctional downtrend. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. We'll come back to the game plans and take a peek at those a little bit later. Lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the flat 17. Not in the upper third, so just neutral. And still in a downtrend. They have not made a higher high. Neutral, still in a downtrend on silver. Let's take a look at gold. Okay, gold, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, middle of quadrant 4, so that's bullish, and still in an uptrend. They have not made any lower lows. So there's gold, still bullish and in an uptrend. Silver, we'll revisit that just for a minute. Silver still neutral and in a downtrend. Still neutral and in a downtrend. Okay, let's take a look at USO, high flyer here. Okay, USO, high flyer, lower, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17, over the 4-year high anchored VWAP, up here in the upper third, so that's bullish and in an uptrend on USO. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG had a pretty good day yesterday. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over, a hooking 17 right here, but clearly under this 12-month high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. Still down here in the lower third. You can see clearly in quadrant 1. All right, so that's bearish. And they made a valley low here, and they're in an uptrend, believe it or not, because it's not a very strong uptrend, because you can see we got a two candle valley low right here, and we got a 2 candle high up here. So it's the strength of your trends or your highs or your lows are developed by the number of candles on each side. Now you can see it's only a couple candles on one side, couple candles, one candle, 2 candles on the other side. Again, on that peak, 2 candles on one side, 2 candles on the other. So it's a very weak uptrend. We'll see what they get out of it. All right, looking like price is kind of moving forward at this time. So in an uptrend on UNG, but still bearish down in the lower third. They are able to make it out. All right, they have proven themselves. But ever since the double top, it's not been a lot of goodness coming out of UNG. Maybe this month will change. So there's UNG. We'll take a look at the dollar index. Actually, we'll take a look at technicals. T2101 is where we'll start first. T2101. Now we went flat yesterday, and market participation increased. All right, so all in all, not a lot of movement yesterday in SPY, but participation starting to increase. So it looks like there's a change in the guard. It looks like the bears are now taking over control. That's what it appears to be. We'll see. That's T2101. A lot more participation, but not much movement. So this is the market breadth. Okay, so price could be rolling over here, and people are getting involved to hedge or exit their positions. T2122. Again, I was looking for price back up here in the buy zone, and you can see we camped out in the sell zone all day. So showing you again, bears are in charge at this time. Okay, we're not in the overbought or in the buy zone up here, overbought zone or buy zone. We're not even in the buyer's chop zone. You can see we're down here, still camped out in the sell zone, so not much going on there. All right, we'll take a look at T2123, and that's a little bit different than what we're used to seeing as well. T2123. Look at these big gap downs, and then bear flag over to the right. Big gap down, no bear flag. All right, then we came back up, and we consolidate under prior consolidation, but over this consolidation, and you can see we're melting off. So yesterday, did we make a high? We did not make a high. Believe it or not, because we didn't make make a high over the 17, all right, right here, we're still in an uptrend, okay, because we left off making a high here, a low here, and a high here. And ever since, we're kind of melting back. So believe it or not, we're still in an uptrend on the 15. We're underneath, looking like a 15-minute that's rolling over, 200 SMA that's rolling over. Not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear, and I'm starting to turn into a bear. I like to be over here if I'm a bull, under here if I'm a bear. Right now, I'm currently lining up more on the bearish side. So T2123, 15, still in an uptrend in that they have not made a lower low. Let me see if I can recalculate that and make that right. Well, we don't have a high. That's the problem. We don't have a high that shoots over the 17. So this is just a pullback right this time. So right now, still in an uptrend. Now we got a high right here. If they dig out a lower low here, they'll have a downtrend. Okay, so still a pullback in the uptrend. That's T2123 15-minute chart. Okay, if I zoom way out, you can see where this is up near the all-time highs, right up there. All right, let's take a look at this on the 3-bar chart. All right, and you'll see this is the origin of our move. This is the origin of our rally. This is the April. Price moves up. There's an all-time high. We make a new all-time high. Pull back, make a higher low. Rip and make a higher high. That's the latest new all-time high. Now you can see the Fibonacci. I'll crank it up just for a minute. I've been doing this now for a couple of days. All right, you can see Fibonacci 1272 kind of lining up right here, close to the top up there. All right, now I'm going to move the Fibonacci. Let's go back here. I'm going to move it up to this low over here, and you can see it lines up with the 1618 right there, that high, and that's the 1618. So there's our Fibonacci getting a reversal right at the Fibonacci area. So you can see some pulling back right now. I kind of pointed that out a few days ago to let traders know that we are at that reversal area. So we crank this down. We don't need this in the way right now. Okay, so we're up over the rising 200 SMA. That's bullish up there. We're not moving up. All right, we've got a low. We've made lower lows. So we're still in a downtrend, okay, on the 3-bar chart. Okay, so currently bullish, but in a downtrend on the 3-bar chart. Take a look at Stinker on the 15. Stinker has been pretty much melting up, not flying up, but just melting up. And you can see here Stinker for yesterday. This would be the 11. There's a high. There's another high. But here's a low. We made a lower low. There's a high. We left off. We were in a downtrend, but very last minute, they inked out a high. They inked out a higher high right here. Pretty sure. Let's take a look at that high. 2047. Take a look at this high. 2047. So they did not ink out a higher high. They inked out an equal high. All right, so they're still in a downtrend on the 15-minute chart. An equal high doesn't cut it. Okay, so got a low. They made a lower low. See how the peak comes up here over the 17. Turn around and made a lower low. So and equal high. So we're in a downtrend coming into the close on Stinker on the 15. We're still up over the rising 200 SMA. So that's bullish in my book. We're still under the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. So that's bearish in my book. So kind of a neutral area right here for Stinker on the 15-minute chart. All right, let's take a look at game plan, right? No, U.S. market index, all right? Price action, let's look at this whole picture. 2025 high, right here, see 2025 high. Bear flag, all right? Price gets into a daily downtrend and then into a bear flag over to the right. You can see the daily downtrend as price comes down. You've got a series of lower highs. See, there's a high, there's a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay, so clearly a downtrend. And then we move into a bear flag right here. And we are underneath. You can see all of these valley lows make up major support. So we broke major support. Okay, we're currently consolidating underneath prior consolidation. Okay, currently we're in a daily uptrend inside of our bear flag. Still have not been able to break out of our bear flag. But you can see in our daily uptrend, we have a low. There's a high, a lower high. But then we put in a higher low right here, higher low. And then we produce higher high right here. So we're in a daily uptrend on the U.S. dollar index. Ever since still hanging into this bear flag that we're currently in. All right, let's take a look at What are we going to look at next? We'll look at the economics, and then we're going to go visit the game plans. All right, so for Max Payne for today, as long as they didn't change it. Why am I getting this? I didn't ask for that. Okay, so Max Payne is 676. Let me refresh it one more time. 676, 1.4 puts for each call that expires today. Okay, for earnings, Adobe, $112 billion. Again, not the tip of the spear here on Adobe. I have not heard about any AI coming out of Adobe. So, again, just familiar names, but nothing here that's going to move the markets. You can see wheat and precious metals, Dollar General, couple of Lennars, Ulta Beauty, Dick's Sporting Goods, Rubric, all familiar names, but nothing here that's going to move the markets, not like the tip of the spear, which would be tech, and even more sharper or pointier would be AI tech. Okay, on Friday, more familiar names, nothing here that's going to move the markets. All right, so let's take a look at, I did Max Payne, we did economic calendar. Okay, so today at 8:30, coming up in 3 minutes, housing starts and permits. That's going to be a delayed report at 8:30. International trade in goods and services. That's at 8:30. Another delayed report. 8:30 as well as jobless claims. Then we've got quarterly services survey, 10 o'clock. We're going to have a natural gas inventory report at 10:30, as well as probably production. All right, and then tomorrow is a main event, GDP at 8:30 in the morning, not a delayed report. Durable goods, durable good orders, okay, not an index. 8:30, all right, in the morning tomorrow. And then we've got personal income and outlays, another delayed report, 8:30 in the morning. Durable goods is another delayed report. GDP is going to be straight up normal. All right, so it's not the delayed report. Consumer sentiment, 10 o'clock tomorrow. JOLTS, 10 o'clock. A rig count at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, so a little volatility might be wrapped around GDP tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Okay, so there's some. Let's take a look at the game plans, and we'll go over to SPY. And I'm going to put the post market on there so we can see what's going on. Right here. Okay, I'm going to move this over and move this over. All right, so we got green erases red over 678.60. Okay, that's this peak right here. So over 678.60 is a green erases red entry. Pivot still 675.75. All right, we didn't have much movement yesterday as far as highs and lows. All right, and we got red erases green underneath 673.30. Now in the overnight session, we came down and visited, you can see in the post market, we came down to the peak between two valleys, all right, as well as the breakup candle low right there. See that? Breakup candle low right in here, all right, and so we kind of melted off yesterday. This morning, we've got a little bit of consolidation over price action yesterday. Still in a 10-minute, going to go with the 10-minute here, still in a 10-minute downtrend. Now, this will probably change, all right, by the time the market opens up. So probably going to square off a range of the first 15 minutes and look for a breakout of that range. All right, we're currently bearish underneath this 675.75 number, and we're bearish with an entry underneath 673.30. All right, just need a downtrend. Looking for a 10-minute downtrend or some type of 5-minute downtrend to trade into for further downside price action. All right, so that's what I'm looking for this morning. I like Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest. I like the out of the money strikes. They tend to be a whole lot cheaper than the in the money strikes. And I like them $2 to $15 out of the money. Again, if you get a big candle move and you're in the money, it can work for you or against you. All right, when it's working for you, it's great. But let me just say, if you've got 10 contracts and you're in the money, that's going to hurt you equally as much. So when you're getting penny for performance, and you get a $3 10-minute candle, and it goes against you, and you got 10 contracts, that's $3,000 stripped from your account just from that one candle alone. And if you freeze up and think it's going to come back, it can just keep running away on you. So be careful with those in the money contracts, especially day trading with them. I prefer to day trade with the out of the money. All right. When it comes to swing trading, I like a little bit of edge, so I like a little bit of in the money there or at the money. But when it comes to day trading, I prefer out of the money, being with the volatile market. So I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. So I'll be looking for that because my bias is bearish this morning. All right, I'll be looking for that 10-minute downtrend under VWAP this morning. All right, that's my plan to trade that 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. And I'll probably be looking at probably 665 puts, 1 DTE, or 667 0 DTE on the SPY puts on that 10-minute downtrend. Okay, so there's the SPY game plan. QQQ has a game plan as well. Again, the Friday options on the multiple of 5, the strikes $2 to $15 out of the money, and I like the 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, the 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Got green erases red up over 610.30, pivot 607.50, red erases green underneath 605, and you can see we've made a lower high and a lower low, another lower high. I'll be looking for another lower low on QQQ as well as SPY. Okay, so you can see lower highs, we got a lower low, another lower high. I'll be looking for another lower low. So probably down to 668. It's going to be my next target. And below that, it's going to be, well, all the way down here to these tails. Okay, so 668 and then 662. All right, so we'll see how this plays out. Again, I'm looking for that 10-minute downtrend. All right, because I'm still a bear this morning. All right, so 10-minute downtrends. All right, traders, if there's any questions, go ahead and put them up there. If there's not, I'll see you guys in about 40 minutes, and we'll kick off the markets live.